right, we're starting out our journey at the Nethercutt Museum. Okay, we're starting our tour.
15 minutes to look around this level, or actually more like 10. As you do so, we do ask you to be very careful not to touch the cars or the other items in the collection. Photography is fine, whatever you like, video, flash, you're good. Restrooms, drinking fountain are around the corner to my right. It will be an hour before the next restroom stop. And that's about it. We'll start the tour when you hear the bell ring on the fire truck, hopefully right at 10 o'clock. So in the meantime, go take a look around, folks. Okay. Now just, okay. Now just, come on in. Well, we have 15 minutes to walk.
How you doing today?
Happy Easter to you.
Thank you, same to you.
I don't want the trunk as an extra seat.
To be outside. Yeah. Look outside. You have to be outside if you're gonna
Okay, if I could have everyone gather in, please, everyone. You want to come down to the garage door? Come on in a little bit closer so I don't have to yell. That'd be great. You want that? There we go. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Nethercutt Collection. My name is Lori Thornhill. I'm actually the archivist here for the collection. It's my job to do all the research on the cars, the instruments, the furniture, the art, well, everything, pretty much. So I've been here for a long time, so please ask questions. That's what I'm here for. Now, this is the collection of the Nethercutt family. Mr. Nethercutt started with cosmetics. That's where all the money comes from, Merle Norman Cosmetics. So, if you're curious where all the money came from, it's all cosmetics, folks, every bit of it. Now, Mr. Nethercutt started collecting cars, though, in the mid-50s. What he did is he bought his first car, because this is something he always dreamt of as a child. And finally, by the mid-50s, he had enough money to participate in a hobby he always dreamed of, which was to own and restore antique and classic cars. His first restoration was a 1930 DuPont town car, which we'll see in a few minutes. He restored the car, then he competed the car at the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance and won Best of Show. So you can imagine that winning Best of Show inspired him to do it again and again and again. He kept buying more cars and restoring them and competing them to eventually, by the late 60s, he had so many cars that he decided to build this building to house his collections and display it. So this building was built between 1968 to 1973, and it's been open to the public since January of '74. So 50 years we've been open.
Wow.
Now the collection kept growing to where eventually we outgrew this building. And that's why we built the museum across the street. That was opened in 2000. Inside houses 130 more automobiles. And since then, we've outgrown that building too. No plans to expand though. But we just keep moving cars around. Because we can only display about 2/3 of the collection at once between the two buildings.
How many total cars?
We have about 250 cars in the collection, can display about 200. So we do rotate cars around. So every time you come back, you see something a little bit different. Now there's more to the collection than just automobiles. There's also mechanical musical instruments in the collection. From music boxes like you just heard, to Nickelodeons, orchestrions, pianos, organs, and we're going to hear from a whole bunch of them today. So we have a theme that runs through this whole building, and that is called functional fine art. In other words, everything here works. All the cars are in running condition on both sides of the street. Our mechanical musical instruments play. Clocks, keep time. So everything here works.
Or at least they're right twice a day.
Well, there you go. Now, our next stop will be our Grand Salon showroom, and we're going to take you, I'm not going to take you back outside, we're going to go up the inside staircase through our foyer and then straight into the showroom floor. Now, I realize the minute you enter that room, you're going to be distracted. But I actually need you all to stay together and gather in as quickly as you can. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the room, and then afterwards I'll give you lots of time to look around, I promise. Pretty amazing. But what does this building look like to you?
Italian.
Italian, like a
Palace.
museum, a palace? Yeah, all of the above. But what it's actually meant to look like is an automobile showroom of the 19 teens, 20s, and 30s.
Really? Wow.
Back in the day when you went shopping for your Lincolns, Packards, Duesenbergs, you would walk into a room just like this. And we had them down in LA, down on Wilshire Boulevard. There were quite a few. Today, they're restaurants and apartment buildings, but they're still down there. But we did have them. Now we have 3 kinds of marble used throughout the room. 4, we have 2 kinds. The black came all the way from Italy, the green from Vermont, and the pretty pink tone marble came all the way from Africa. Now, let's talk about the cars. These cars are restored here on the premises. We have our own shops where we will take a car, we'll completely research the car first, that's my job. Then we will strip the car down to the frame and then restore it historically correct. This process will easily take us 1 year to 2 years of work just on one automobile. And we take these cars out. Like I said downstairs, we compete these cars in car shows. Oh, absolutely. Anywhere from, we go to Pebble Beach every year, and we've actually won more awards at Pebble Beach than any other car collector in the world. We also compete across the country. Anywhere from this last couple months, we were in Arizona, we were in Rhode Island, we've gone to Amelia Island in Florida, Kirkland, Washington. So we do take the cars out and about. And occasionally, if you're lucky, we'll take one out for lunch.
Are any more still being acquired?
We do acquire, but not very often, just because we don't have any more room. Something has to be extremely special for Mr. Nethercutt to even consider it at this point.
So he's still alive?
Well, no, the father and son, the father and mother up there, they're the founders. No, they passed away in 2004, but now the son, Jack, and his wife Helen are the ones that are now in charge. And now there's more generations coming up too, so there's still lots of family involved, even more so now than ever.
How did they choose?
Where's the elevator bringing them up to these?
Right there, you can see it's open, just a touch.
How did they choose Sylmar as their location?
Gee, I get asked that question all the time. Sylmar, yeah, I know, it's an unlikely choice, but Mr. Nethercutt, like I said, owns Merle Norman Cosmetics. Merle Norman Cosmetics headquarters is in Westchester, right by LAX. But then he bought property out here to build the container division of Merle Norman, which was right next door. It's gone now, but it was there. So it just made sense that he just built onto that property so they can keep an eye on each other. So that's why Sylmar.
And where did he live?
In Brentwood. Now, Like I said, the cars are restored here. How many of you are surprised at the colors of these cars? Do a lot of you feel these colors should be dark colors? Most people do, and there's a couple of reasons why we think that way. One, black and white photography, black and white movies. Also, what was Henry Ford's favorite saying?
Have any color you want as long as it's black.
Right, you can have any color you want as long as it's black. Now, do you know why he chose black?
Didn't have to inventory multiple things.
No, but that's a good answer. No? Because it dried the fastest. So in other words, if purple dried faster than black, guess what? All those Model T Fords would have been purple. Black dried faster. So that's why. But keep in mind that between the years of 1895 to 1947, in this country alone, there were 4,774 makes of cars. The one way they stood out, color. These are all historically correct colors for these automobiles, folks. Every single one.
Even like the green on the tires.
Yeah, that's what I was
that
gonna
was
ask, that
we were
lime green
just-
is real?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The pinstriping. How many of you noticed the pinstriping? Pinstriping goes back to the horse and buggy days, to where it just went right straight to automobiles. So every car had pinstriping on it. And even caning, like you see on this car here, that's all hand painted on. There was a template they followed, but it was all hand painted. It was just part of the style. That's a Brewster body. It's what Brewster did. So in any case, these are all historically correct automobiles. Now, the car I mentioned downstairs, the 30 DuPont, is the black one right here. Now, just to show you what goes into a restoration, this car right here is 34 Packard. This is the way we started out on. So just to give you an idea of what we do to a car through restoration.
Now, what would he have paid for something in that poor condition?
Well, keep in mind that Mr. Nethercutt bought these cars at the right time. Most of these cars were just used cars. Because you're talking about 20, 30 years later. So a lot of these he bought on used car lots. So they were pretty darn cheap back then. I mean, nowadays, you pay a minor fortune for these cars. But back in the day, even unrestored, they were pretty darn cheap. Now the DuPont is right there. This car that I mentioned before is a 1930 Rolls-Royce Phantom II. This car was owned by a famous actress during the 20s and 30s and early 40s. Her name was Constance Bennett. Constance Bennett, if you watch any of the Topper movies, that's Constance Bennett. She actually bought the car and then she would rent it out to the movie studios. The car made more money than she did per day. $250 a day, she would rent the car out to. Unfortunately, eventually her husband, he lost the car in a poker game.
Oh, God.
What do you need to do to become a historical vehicle?
It has to be for, I think it has to be 20 years old. Historical vehicles. 25, I suppose. 25 years old or older.
That's it, just age-wise, that's the only criteria?
Right.
It doesn't also have to be completely factory accurate and things like that.
Right, but also to get that license plate, you have to be a collector. You can't, can't be an everyday car that you drive constantly. It has to be a collector. So these are meant for collectors.
Yeah, you're not going to slap that on a 97 Saturn.
Okay, I want to give you some time to take a look around. While you're doing that, you'll be hearing some music from the piano up there. As it plays, look around. When the music stops, join me at the staircase over there.
You see these?
I think it does for us.
This was a race car. Yeah, it was a race car.
This was the first car that started this collection.
Gotti.
Ah, okay.
Look how big that thing is. Oh, sorry.
The food here, and they go like.
Questions about the cars so far? Yes, no, maybe? No, we're good?
A lot of questions.
Yeah, you guys had a lot of questions. That was great. Okay, I want to point out to you the portraits about the piano. That is the founders of the collection. That's JB and Dorothy. Mr. Nethercutt was born in 1913 in South Bend, Indiana. Mrs. Nethercutt was born in 1914 in Hamilton, Canada.
What does JB stand for?
Jack Boyson Nethercutt. Mr. Nethercutt came out as a young boy. His mother passed away, and his father sent him out to California to live with his aunt being Merle Nethercutt Norman. So she raised him from age 9 in Santa Monica. Mrs. Nethercutt and her family came out to California also about the same age. They met in middle school, and then they started dating in high school, and then they married shortly after high school. They were married for 71 years, and they both passed away 6 weeks apart from each other at ages 90 and 91. And that was in 2004. And like I mentioned earlier, we have the next generation in charge, which is Jack and Helen Nethercutt, and there's more grandkids and great-grandkids coming up. So, like I mentioned, we'll be around for a while. And this is all in a foundation, so it's all well protected.
Is Merle Norman still a family-owned company?
Absolutely, and it's still going strong. Okay, our next stop will be our mezzanine right up there. We'll be seeing the mezzanine fairly quickly, so when you arrive up there, start looking around. We have on display some hood ornaments, which we call mascots. We have a beautiful silver sculpture from the San Francisco World's Fair, so take a look at that. I will play a couple instruments for you as you're looking around. If you would prefer not to walk up, you can use the elevator. My room's waiting for you. If you would like to walk up the grand staircase, please follow me.
They don't let us stay here very long.
Look at all those hood ornaments. Well, you can't say they didn't have enough hood ornaments.
This one's my favorite. I love it. Yeah. That's odd. Oh yeah. Those very
Came out in 1939, and it also happened to be Mr. and Mrs. Nethercutt's favorite song. So that's why we have it note for note, Gold Leaf, all the way to the top. The stairway takes us up to our next stop, which will be our music room. It is filled with all kinds of mechanical and musical instruments, and we're going to hear quite a few. First up, we're going to hear what's called from a reproducing piano. Reproducing pianos, very similar to player pianos. I think most of you have seen player pianos. They run off the paper rolls. Same basic principle, but these are the next level up. These also have expression, where player pianos, when you hit a note, you hit it the same way every time. Player pianos, you can hit a note soft, middle, hard. Expression, the pedals, it's all connected. So it sounds like someone's actually playing the piano. So as it plays, take a look around the room. But we do ask you, of course, to be careful not to touch the instruments. There's lots of seating up there. Have a seat if you like. Restrooms, drinking fountain are to your right as you enter the room. If you prefer not to walk up the staircase, Myron will take you up in the elevator. If you would like to walk up or hike up, it is 42 steps up. Just follow me. The dining room behind me. This is our Louis XV dining room. The Nethercutts love to entertain. They had dinner parties in this room every Friday night. It was a 7-course, 3-hour gourmet French dinner. And then afterwards would be a concert in our music room. Wow. Right now, it was right here. We have a full kitchen and pantry behind. Now the table and chairs, not antiques. They were built for the room in the Louis XV style. And that's why if you look very carefully at the chairs, you'll notice they only have one arm. Now the one-arm chair back in the day, Louis XV's time period, was important because when a gentleman came to an event like this, part of his formal attire was a sword. A sword always went to your left. And that's why there's no arm on that side of the chair.
Interesting.
Now the chandelier happens to be one of the oldest items in the collection. It dates to the 1680s. It is French and it is royal. We also have a very pretty mirror affecting the room. When you have a chance, walk up to a mirror, look into it, then turn around and cross the room to the opposite mirror, and then you'll see an infinity of chandeliers. It's real pretty, so take a look at that. While you're looking around, I'm going to be playing some music for you. So let me tell you a little bit about some of these instruments out here. So everyone turn around, take a look at these great big instruments along the walls. And that's why we're not
These are orchestrions.
European built, and they stayed in Europe. We didn't have them in this country. Now we have our fair share of mechanical musical instruments here, but nothing quite as grand as orchestrions. These were built specifically to replace roller rinks, restaurants, cafes. Outdoors, you find your band organs, your fair organs, your merry-go-rounds and carousels. But indoors, orchestrions. Now, as you can see, they come in all shapes and sizes, but they also come in different sounds. Every one of these sounds unique. You had a choice back in the day. If you wanted to buy one of these for your restaurant, you could choose from a brass band, a jazz band, or a concert band. It could be a 2-piece band, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20-piece orchestras. So everyone is different. we're going to play a few of them for you. First up, though, we're going to start you off with an American instrument, a Nickelodeon, an automatic banjo dating back to 1900, one of the very earliest of Nickelodeons. After that, we're going to play your first orchestrion, which is based in 1910, built in Leipzig, Germany by the Hupfeld Company, and it's going to play for you 3 violins. So when you hear a violin play, go watch it, because you'll be able to watch the violins play. It's in the first alto. After that, we'll play 2 of the orchestrions for you, and then afterwards, when we finish with that one, join me in front of the organ, and I'm going to tell you all about the organ, and then, of course, you're going to hear that play, too. So a couple quick... Before we go to this instrument, are there any questions about the instrument collection?
I have a question about the room.
Okay.
What are the brass things on the floor that look like they could be upside down sprinklers or whatever?
Fine, no, they're little, they're outlets, just,
Electric outlets.
Yeah, electric outlets.
Electrical outlet.
yeah, that's all. Any other questions? No, yes, okay. Let's talk about the Mighty World Theater pipe organ, right behind me. This is also known as the Hope Jones Unit Orchestra. Hope Jones was a man that lived at the turn of last century, so about 1900, he decided that he wanted to hear a whole different sound come out of an organ. Before then, we had church organs. These theater pipe organs, totally different. He wanted to hear the sound of a complete orchestra come out of one. So he was able to tune and shape pipes to make them sound like each individual instrument of an orchestra, whether it be a saxophone, a French horn, a tuba, a violin. He could get that sound through a pipe. So not only do we have those instruments, but we also have percussion. Now you can't get the sound of a drum through a pipe, but that didn't stop him. He was able to, with the help of pneumatics, install the real instrument and have the drumstick hit the drum, or the bell, the xylophone, and the stick hits the bells. So everything plays as normal, but it's all automated. So a whole complete orchestra. Now these were primarily used for one reason, and that was to accompany silent movies. This was originally installed in 1918 in the Denver Auditorium and played for many movies there. But because it was meant for movies, you also have to have one added thing. You have to have sound effects. So I'm going to play some sound effects for you. And you can tell me what they are, and also what kind of scene you would see it played in the movie. So here you go. Here's the first one. Okay, but that's technically not a train whistle. So what would it be?
Steamboat.
A boat whistle, but also could be used as a train whistle, but it could also be used as a factory whistle. Correct. So many different things. How about this one?
Telephone.
Not a phone. Doorbell. but can be used as a phone. See where I'm getting? Yeah. Okay, this one is kind of obvious though. So that would be your fire scene or police scene. How about this one? That's thunder. Earthquake, bad word. Don't say that. Bad word. But yes. That is every low note in the organ going off at once. You want to hear it again? Okay, how about this one? That's a train bell. Right, that's the train bell. Correct. Okay, this one's kind of obvious. What is that called? Very good, thank you. Klaxon, absolutely. Most people know it as Ooga, but that is just the sound it makes. So, and last but not least, oh no, I got two more. Here's one. This one you got to kind of think of yourself in very relaxed, enjoying yourself on vacation. Right, surf is what it's called, but could be used if I did this. Rain, waterfall, steam from a locomotive, or who else was I going with that? I guess, and then the last one is this one. Bird whistle. So what kind of scene would you see that played in? Nature scene, a garden scene, forest, jungle.
Or a comedy.
A comedy, getting hit in the head and birds flying around. Also a kissing scene back in the day. Yeah.
How many pipes are in there?
So, good question. This happens to be the third largest Wurlitzer Theater pipe organ in the world. It has 5,132 pipes. Curious who number 1 and 2 are? Number 1's in a pizza parlor in Mesa, Arizona, called Organ Stop Pizza. And second one is in a home outside of Chicago, the Jasper San Filippo collection, and we're number 3 by just a few pipes.
Where are the pipes in there?
Hold on, you're getting there. Now keep in mind that you're going to see 2 rooms full of pipes, but we have actually 11 rooms of pipes around you. So you are literally standing in the middle of the third largest Wurlitzer Theater pipe organ in the world. So pretty cool. Now, I am not going to sit down here and play this for you. That's just a really bad idea. But that doesn't mean it's not going to play. Like everything else here, it has to do what? Right, functional fine art, right. It has to play all by itself. So that's why we have a computer right up there. The way it works is we bring in live artists, live organists to come and play this organ on a regular basis. While they're doing that, we are encoding that live performance onto that computer. So when that artist goes home, long ago, we can pull out what he played on the computer screen. It lists the songs, and I want to hear that song. So at that point, what happens is the computer becomes the organist and tells the organ what to play. It is the same exact live performance, but nobody's here. No, the keys are because the contact goes from there directly into the organ. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you a mini concert. We're going to hear 3 selections. First up, we're going to hear our standard Phantom of the Opera. Secondly, we're going to hear one of my favorite songs, and keep in mind there's a long delay in between. We're going to hear the theme from the Pink Panther. And third, I'm not going to tell you what it is. Just, I will ask you at the end when I come back what song it is.
So the pipes are going to actually be playing.
And you're going to be able to see it.
I mean, I know you were.
So we heard a sound, and there was a
So everyone
pipe that
stand
went
up and
bad.
gather in.
I think it looked better in my house than here.
Thank you, mister.
Everybody stay where you are. Hold on. Did you turn it off, Ron? Oh, now he's saying that. Now he's saying, because this will. Unfortunately, we can't go inside the train, so I guess we'll just have to come back again. And then Ford brought back the Thunderbird, a revised one for a while.
Just like my
And then saw that it didn't come out so well. But these are beautiful.
This color, what is this color, do you think?
I would say yes.
Attached to the side there. I think that's really cute.
Yeah, yeah. Are they gonna go?
Look at that one. That's a Gina-sized car. Oh, God. I have to see if they have a 240Z here.
Listen, I asked how many cars they have.
Yeah.
He said like they have right here in this collection, they have about,
She said.
no, he said like 150.
In this building?
In this building, 150. Another 80 in another.
But
and
they have more cars than
they
that.
have